What's going on? This your boy, Chris Simmons, coming to you with another podcast on this breezy Friday. For some reason, the weather decided that it's gonna get cold again. So, I went outside and I was like, dang, it's cold out here. So I had to put on my sweatshirt this morning. Not really a fan of that because by this time I feel like it should just be warm consistently. But like I told y'all, man, being from Ohio, you don't know what you're gonna get. So, I stepped out and I was just like freezing though. But the reason I went out is because y'all know I had to go get my smoothie this morning at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I told y'all I'm into the Island Green Smoothie. I'm telling y'all, if y'all haven't been in that place, I'll tell y'all that's where y'all need to go because it has some great healthy options. Now I just got the smoothie this morning because I didn't feel like getting the breakfast. I wanted to save a little money, you know what I'm saying? So, I just got me my green smoothie. So I'm feeling real good this morning. You know what I mean? And then I made me an omelet and some bacon. So, I saved a little money on breakfast. I just made my own breakfast for real, for real. So, it's been pretty good. It's been a pretty good morning, besides the fact that it's cold and it's raining outside. But you know what? You got to find joy within yourself. So that's what I do every day. I just find joy within myself and I enjoy every single day. Like the weather does not impact my mood at all. I just go out and just continue to live my life. So, that's just what's been going on. And then later today, my parents said they're going to come up here. So they're going to come visit me up here in Kent because I know we're originally from Cincinnati. So that's about a 3.5, 4 hour trip because they said they're on spring break. So they're going to come up here, check me out, see what's going on. Probably gonna go out later to a nice restaurant downtown Kent. So I'm really looking forward to that. Haven't seen them since January because I was at home for like a month because I had a lot of stuff going on at home. So I was there um, for pretty much the whole winter break. But now I'm back here. I've been back here since January. So it's just good to have the fam come up, see what's going on, see how they doing for real, for real. But anyway, I want to get into today's episode because I got a really special guest on today. This woman seems like she makes a very great impact in her community. I came across the page and I was excited to be able to reach out to her because it seems like she has a great message. When I came across her bio, it says that she's on a journey to improving mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I said, you know what? I want to know more about that. I want to have her on the show, see what she means by that. And she also has a podcast as well, a motivational podcast. And it seems like me and her, have the same mission vision of just trying to impact people. And I got a chance to, listen to one of her episodes, and I was like, man, that's like a lot of what she said, especially in that first episode, really hit me because it kind of reminded me of how I got started with my podcast as well. So it just seems like she's just a strong woman, just full of passion, just full of determination, and just full of ideas to just share across the world and just be able to make as big of an impact as she can. So without further ado, let me introduce y'all to Shannon. How you doing, girl? How's it been?
Well, after that intro, I'm doing great. That was the best welcoming I've ever received.
Oh wow. Hey, look, I always try to hype on my guests, you know what I'm saying? Like I always try to give the audience a little background because I know they come on for the when my guests come on for the first time, I always try to, fill them with just a great intro for them to get excited about the episode. So I'm glad that you enjoyed the intro.
Oh, for sure. Thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how's your day been so far? I know it's about 1 o'clock right now because me and you on the same time zone. So, what have you been getting involved in before this podcast and everything like that?
Well, I've had a bit of a crazy day. I feel like God put me into this situation because He knew I was going to be talking to so many people about our mindsets and positivity that He wanted to give me a story to share. So, in a weird way, I'm thankful that what happened this morning. So, I wake up at 5:30 a.m. I have
Oh,
a
for real?
very
Hold on. Pause. You wake up at 5:30 in the morning.
Sir.
Oh, God is good all the time because literally I do the same thing.
Oh yeah.
I haven't met anybody who just wakes up at 5:30 in the morning. Like that, wow. You just made my day right there. That's crazy.
Well, it's funny because that's actually something pretty new to me. Like I was never a morning person. I hated it. But then I started this journey to improve my mental health and physical health. And part of that was get your butt up in the morning and start your day and make an impact. So 5:30 is my new routine.
This is my twin right here. I'll tell y'all what, she's my twin for real. Like literally, I say this all the time on my podcast. Like literally, like you basically are just like me for real. Like getting up at 5:30 because I was on that too. Like I was a morning person, but I was never really that early of a morning person. Like I would get up at like maybe I used to get up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But
Mm-hmm.
my audience knows my story about my Achilles injury. Like that literally changed my mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in a dark place, like physically and mentally, and literally during that time when I was in quarantine, like I decided that I'm gonna start getting up earlier. I'm gonna start, trying to improve myself. So I just love people who do that because I've always had this thing about I've always had this favor toward morning people because people who get up that early, they got a different drive. They don't just get up
Mm-hmm.
just because they have to. Like you don't have to get up that early, but it seems like you want to get up that early because you're trying to better yourself and try to become the best version of you. And I really mess with that for real.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Like I love waking up. I actually get excited for it. Like I used to view it as a chore, but now, I mean, I have a pretty like set routine in the morning. Like I wake up, I start with meditation, then I do visualizations and affirmations and dive into working out and journaling. Cause I'm like, before I go into the crazy work day and talking to a bunch of other people, I want to focus on me and what I got to do for myself.
I'm
So
smiling.
this morning, though, I got to
Okay.
tell you, I walked downstairs to go into the gym area we have where I like do all of this stuff, the meditation, exercise, everything. And I'm like excited, I'm smiling, ready to go. I open the door, and I step into a huge puddle of water because my hot water heater went and
Ooh,
it flooded the whole room.
nah,
And it was like at the time, obviously, I was so upset, but I think, something that I know you can relate to is it's all about your mindset. So I'm like, all
mhm.
right, it's going to get fixed. It's fine. I could do all of these other things later, but I'm up. Let's deal with this. Good thing I found it early. Everything's going to be okay. So that's how the day started.
Well, at least you're able to bounce back for real. I mean, that's so good. I mean, that even though that was like a little small thing that happened, like, an average person could have just like let that ruin their whole day. They'd be like, oh my gosh, like, why did this have to happen? Oh, blah, blah, blah. You know how people be like when just little stuff that irritate them, when it gets to them, they just start like letting it control their whole day. But it seems like for you, you got that good self control to just be like, you know what? It is what it is. Let me go ahead and bounce back and not let this, affect the rest of my day. But that's just amazing. Like I'm just still trying to get over the fact that you said like you just came out and said I get up at 5:30 in the morning because oh my gosh, like that is just incredible because I feel like in the mornings you have the most control of your day. That's why I love getting up in the morning because nobody's up. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's up, nobody texting you, calling you, nothing like that. And the
Hmm.
fact that you also work out in the morning is also incredible because I do the same thing. Like when I get up in the morning, I get up at 5:30. I say my prayer. I brush my teeth, do all that, and then I'll go to the gym around 6, and I just get in. Like I always like to start my day off with a workout because it's like my coffee in the morning. It's my version of coffee. I don't
Yes.
drink I don't drink coffee. I don't drink energy drinks. I don't drink none of that because I just got natural energy. My passion wakes me up. You know what I'm saying? I just get up out of bed. I don't need that coffee. You know what I'm saying? I just got that natural energy. That's why I tell people I got natural energy.
Yeah, it really does help. I mean, your body, like when you exercise, it gives you so much energy. You release endorphins, which make you happier. Like it really does set your mood right from the start of the day
Mm-hmm.
to be in a good mood. And you've also accomplished something. So as soon as you accomplish something, you're like, I was able to do that. I could do anything for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure, yeah. Now since you do like to work out, what what type of workouts do you like to do? Because I'm more into strength training. I like to build muscle and everything. So like, you also like to work out. Like what's your like favorite workout to do?
Ooh, well, Monday through Saturday, my goal is to always burn at least 500 calories. And it's always something different. Like I do HIIT workouts or I like to run. Running's probably my favorite because it's just, I feel like I really can clear my head. Or I'll do like Pilates or something, but that's just my goal Monday through Saturday. But then Sundays, I just started doing yoga and I love it. It's like my active rest day to be grateful, thank my body for all the hard work it's done throughout the week. So a lot of exercise throughout the week, and that's my overall goal. But if I had to choose one, I think running would be my favorite.
Interesting. Okay. I used to be into running, but then I was like, I mean, I'll run. Well, now I'm trying to get back into running because, like I told you, like with my Achilles, I couldn't even walk.
Mm-hmm.
So, like now I'm starting. Like I'll run on the treadmill. Like I like to do like short sprints. I'm not really a distance runner. I used to be able to run. Like I used to like running 5, 6 miles, but I'm just like, you know what? I'm just cool with doing like, I'll go on the track, maybe do like 100-meter sprints, maybe some 200s. Longest I'll do is 400. I'll do a 400.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I ever go on the track, because we got like a track around here, so if I, once I get really back to full speed for real, I'll probably go back out there, do some sprints. I'm just kind of just taking it easy right now, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I also like how you say you like to do yoga. I need to get back into doing that for real. Like I remember I used to do yoga videos. Now I never went to like a little studio or nothing like that. I know my sister, she said she do hot yoga. Um, I don't know. I might have to try that to be honest, because I'm always trying to work on my flexibility. Because I know I've been tight in the past. So like flexibility for me, that's something I need to work on. So I definitely need to get back into doing that yoga routine, like doing some namaste and all that.
Yeah. I used to hate yoga. I hated it. I used to be like, oh my gosh, this isn't a good workout. I don't burn that many calories. And I can't ever just like turn off my brain and focus like the instructor is telling me to. But this year, I'm really focusing on my mental health, even with my exercise. I think that's why it made me now love yoga and be able to appreciate it more. So, yoga is something that's very new to me. I'm not a yoga expert yet, but I'd like to try hot yoga and some of the other classes that I've seen.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I might have to find me a yoga place around here. I know they used to have some on campus, but
Hmm.
with the whole virus, like everything's kind of limited now. So,
Yeah.
hopefully when everything, really open back up. Um, I'll be able to find me some. I also like to do boxing. I also found boxing pretty interesting too. So, definitely a way. If you mad, like that's the best way. Just go to a boxing gym and just start taking out on the bag. I figured out that when you release all that anger, release all that frustration, like afterward, you just feel like a whole different person. I did that like
Hmm.
2 summers ago. 2 summers ago, my cousin, he was like an amateur boxer, and he used to go to the gym and be able to practice boxing. So it was a new experience for me, but I really found it enjoyable, to be honest with you.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't really do boxing because I had surgery on my right arm where I have like a metal plate and a bunch of screws. So
Yeah.
like I love boxing for the same reason that you said. Like sometimes when you hit the bag and you get that stress and anger out, it feels so good. Like I can only punch so much with this hand. So it's kind of like your Achilles tendon. It's the same thing. You
Mhm.
know, like after you go through an injury, it's like it's kind of hard and you don't know how much you can push and do certain things with workouts.
Right. Yeah. But over time, I mean, you're gonna be all right. I mean, we're gonna
Yeah.
eventually heal. I mean, I know it may not heal the same way, but it's better to be able to actually do something with that muscle than not being able to do anything at all. So that's what I'm
Yes.
able to realize. But I want to, go ahead and transition into the meat and potatoes of this episode because I really, was hoping that you could share, just basically your story. Because I know that when I listened to the first episode of your podcast, I heard a lot of deep stuff in there, and I just heard a lot of just a lot of points that you made and just a lot of open up about a lot of things that you went through in your life, especially last year in 2020. I'm sure a lot of people could
Mhm.
relate to difficult times. I know it's probably different for a lot of people, but we all went through something in 2020. And I just found it interesting to when you open up about some of those struggles that you went through. It led you down this path to, trying to get a podcast out there, trying to get your voice out there, to try to make an impact. So I just want to give you the floor and just have you explain about, the stuff that you went through, in your past, and why it led you down this path to becoming, to try to inspire others.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people might be shocked when I talk about my story, because I was not this positive person that is who she is today. Like, if what happened to me this morning happened a year ago with the hot water heater, I would have been cursing up a storm. I would have stayed in my PJs all day. I'd be miserable, not do any exercise, and probably have a glass of wine at the end of the day and feel sorry for myself. So it took me a while to get to this point. But if I'm going to start at the beginning of this journey, it was at the beginning of the pandemic. I found out that I was going to be working from home, and I didn't really understand the severity of what was going on with COVID-19. Like, I thought, okay, we shut down for 2 weeks. It's like this never-ending snowstorm, and then we go back to work. Fine. Then our companies push it back a month, 2 months. Then we don't even know when you're going to go back. But there's no end in sight. And I really went into full panic mode after that, because I think it sunk in, where I was like, oh my God, this is not a joke or just something they're doing to, cover their bases. This is serious. And there's people that are dying, and there's people that are sick. And it's not just even our country, it's the world that is being affected by this. And I started to feel these really intense feelings of anxiety, which I'd never had before. Like, in the past, I would get anxious over little things. Like, I hate flying. That's always been something I'm anxious about, but I've never experienced it just on a daily basis. And I was starting to have really bad anxiety attacks where, like, my body was just involuntarily shaking, like very, very aggressively. And I'd even get sick from it sometimes. And I was just always on edge, going to my boyfriend, my family members, my friends, saying, just tell me everything's going to be okay. Just tell me everything's fine, and I have nothing to worry about. Like, let's just bury this anxiety down, and everything's going to be okay. And I kept burying it down and burying it down. And then that led into a depression for me, because I was just constantly anxious. And I think overall, I just started being like, what is the point? If these terrible fears that I'm building in my head were to come true, then what is the point of anything I'm doing? If I'm going to die tomorrow, why get up out of bed? Why get ready for work? If I'm working behind a computer in my living room that's 5 feet away, why not just stay in my PJs? Why put effort into myself? And I overall just lost seeing a purpose in everything. And then overall, just looking at what my life was, it was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Even after this pandemic, what is my life going to be? And who's the person I'm going to be? And I was just so depressed. And that's a dark place to get in, when you don't know who you are, and you don't know what you're meant to be doing in this world, And I consistently was going to my boyfriend and family saying, just tell me we're okay. Tell me we're okay. And what I realized was, I'm putting this negativity out on all of them. And I'm now making them feel this negativity every day, where they have to reassure me. And that's not fair, because all I'm doing is asking for them to help me, but I'm not here for them. I'm not giving them the energy that they need from me. And I just wanted to stop feeling this way. I was like, I cannot keep feeling this anxiousness. I'm sick of feeling sick all the time. So towards the end of the pandemic, after months and months and months of dealing with this, I decided to go into therapy, because it got to a point where, like, my family and everybody was like, I can't say anything that's going to help this. Like, I could tell you everything's going to be okay, but I don't know why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Maybe you need help. And so I went and I spoke to a therapist, and I was so ashamed at the time that I had to go seek therapy. I only told my boyfriend. I didn't open up about it to anybody else that I actually was going. And I think I was just like, I cannot believe I let it get to this point. Like, I felt so weak, so weak that I couldn't get through this myself. And I went there, and I wanted her to say, the thoughts you're having are ridiculous, and you should just go home. Everything's gonna be fine. What you're thinking, don't believe it. You're good. And I'm so sorry. That was the volume on my computer. I just turned it off. And she surprised me because when I opened up to my therapist, she looked at me, she was like, what you're feeling is totally valid. What you're feeling is 100% realistic. And it's okay that you're feeling this way. Like, you're not being ridiculous. What you're feeling does not make you crazy. Like, these feelings are totally acceptable and something that are real to you. And every time that you're ignoring them and burying it down, you're giving it power. And that anxiety is building power inside of you to take over your life like it's doing. And so, sorry, this is a very long story, but she, after giving me those tips, I really had to practice it and work on it. And I started to realize that I was feeling better. And so that kind of showed me that, this feeling I was experiencing, it's not forever. Like, if you find the right tips and tricks to put into effort every single day, you can get through this and this feeling won't be forever. And so going through those little bits of moments where I felt like I was seeing improvement, I decided I want to do that with my whole life. Like, not just my mental health, but my physical, my spiritual, everything. Like, why not? If I could find little ways to improve, why not become the best version of me? I'm just doing a disservice to myself right there. And I also then realized, okay, I'm listening to a lot of podcasters and reading books from people who talk about their journey from 5 years ago. All these people are like, oh my gosh, I went through bankruptcy and all these different, traumas in my life. And here I am today. But like, none of them were going through it with me. There was nobody that was just struggling who I could be like, gosh, I'm not the only one. And I felt like it would be selfish of me to keep this experience to myself and not help somebody else out there who's going through this, because let's be honest, everybody is struggling from this past year, whether we want to admit it or not. A lot of us are dealing with these feelings of anxiety and depression and just struggling. So I was like, let me turn this into a positive. Let me take my mission and this journey. And while I'm learning, I want to help inspire and motivate others, and then build a positive community where we all are each other's accountability partners, and we can work through this together and just show each other that this feeling will pass. This moment we're in, it will pass, and everything will be okay. So I'm sorry, I feel like that was a very, very long way of telling my story, but that's my story.
I think honestly, you gave like the modified version, because I remember in the podcast, it's a little more, there's a lot more other details, but I think the point is you wanted to just kind of get to the point, which I respect, is how you was in a place, right? You was in a place mentally, and it wasn't good because obviously a lot of people were in that place, in that dark place, because we were all self-isolated. And we didn't have that human interaction like we were used to. So a lot of it was like, okay, like, what do I do now? Like, I feel like I have these barriers around me and I can't escape them. But that's when you said, you know what, let me turn this into like something great. Let me turn this into like a story. And that's what I found out, because I liked when you said, oh, I went back and listened to podcasts, listened to other people's stories. I did some of the same things as well, because I listened to a lot of motivation when I was in my situation. I listened to a lot of motivation, and what I find out about people who pursue this type of passion, of inspiring others, a lot of them, or at least all the ones that I've listened to, have a story that brought them to this point. They just get there because it was just a magic trick. They had to endure something in order for them to get to where they are now, standing on stages, creating videos, podcasts. That's what I found out about, that's what I found out that's so unique about, people who are on the journey to inspire others, is because they got a story they want to share, and they want to be like, look, I went through this, but I made it. So if I could make it, if I could deal with what I was dealing with, I can also teach you, okay, this is how I made it. Now, if you may go through something similar or something of that caliber where you feel like you're in a dark place, this is the way I was able to do it. So that's why I really love people who, I love to reach out to people who are on that mission, because I know personally there's a story. Like when you see like what I'm doing with my podcast, there's always a story. I always reference, okay, I tore my Achilles. Like I was in a dark place. I couldn't walk. Like I felt like I could have easily just given up and be like, well, I'm just gonna sit back for like 6, 9 months and not do anything and just wait. But really, when people say wait, that don't mean literally just sit there and do nothing. I mean, like go out and do what you're passionate about. And I took that time to go out and pursue my passion. So I really enjoyed, listening to that story. I really enjoyed you coming on and sharing it. Once again, I know you shared it in your podcast, but it's always good to, just be able to come on and be able to share it once again, because I feel like your story defines who you are. Your story makes the pain that you went through, kind of mold you into who you are and who you are going to become in your future. So I appreciate that. Like that, I know it probably was hard, but I appreciate you taking the time to do that for real.
Yeah, and it's something interesting too. Like I really like how you said you can either take your story, right? Like what happened to you, and you can sit back and let it define you in a negative way where it holds you back and it ruins you. Or you can take your story and have it be what propels you, what be the fire under your ass that gets you going, you know? And it's so important that we do that. And I think when you change your mindset that way, like for me, I'm not happy that I went through that. Like it wasn't a good time, but I'm happy from what I learned from it. Like you only get to these points in your life when you overcome those struggles. Like everything that you go through, whether it be a heartache, you lost a job, you lost a friend, every moment shaped you to get where you are now. So in a way, you have to be thankful for them and view them as blessings, because it's the only way that we got to this point that we're at in this very moment.
Mhm. Absolutely. And one thing that I also like remember hearing from your podcast is that you mentioned that you created a vision board. That's one of the things I wrote down on my notes, like because literally I did the same approach. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, I don't like where I'm at now. So like let me, start creating like a vision board. Like I also did this myself where I started writing stuff down of okay, what can I do now to work to where I want to become in the future? So I thought that was also interesting how you talked about the vision board. And I just want you to just kind of just open up about that. Like what's on that? Like what type of visions do you see yourself having in your future?
Yeah, so I love vision boards, and I've been doing them for a while, but this year was like the first year that I did it the right way, because I think what happens for a lot of people, and this is what I did in the past, was I wasn't specific enough with my vision. You know, you put happy words and happy pictures on a board and think they'll inspire you, but if they're not resonating something, if you're not feeling a feeling of, motivation and excitement, then that should be on your board. But vision boards are meant to be that tool that instead of us having to visualize what our dream life is and what we want, we see it, and it makes that visualization so much quicker because it's immediate and it's right in front of us. So I went through the magazine this year, and something I do before a vision board is I create a pros and cons list of like my life. Like, what am I happy that I've done in my life? And what do I want to continue? And what are things that I really don't like about myself and I don't want to do anymore? What are the moments I'm not proud of? And so when you look at your pros list of what you want, that is so important in your vision board. It helps you imagine, okay, and how much more do I want to get to in the future? So I went and got a magazine, and some of the things that I have I have a girl doing yoga, because yoga was something I really wanted to get into to work on exercise and my mental health. I have somebody who's journaling because I want to take time to recenter and get, thoughts. Somebody said today in a room I was in, bring your subconscious to your conscious. And a way of doing that is journaling. So to get a lot of those feelings out. I also have somebody who's hiking and kayaking. So I just want to do more in nature. I want to be outdoors more and get away from the screens much more than I have in the past. And a couple dancing, which I ended up taking dance classes this year, and I'm finding my joy in dance class again. And then little reminders are all throughout the board. So I have those big pictures, but then little phrases like fitness, better nutrition, motivate, you only have one life to live, be happy, ignite that fuel that you need. And they're just different sayings that when I look at them, it makes me believe in myself and believe what I can do. And then I can visualize and see my dream life much quicker than I could before.
Okay. I like that. I love that. I love that. I love that point that you made about just being happy. Now, you know, let's say, somebody listen to this and they're like, well, how do I do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I become more happy in my life? I guess you can just basically speak from this from a personal experience. Like, maybe not everybody does what you do, but like, what are some positive habits that can help you, develop that happiness that you were just talking about?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do to change your mindset is to change the everyday conversation you have with yourself. This is so important to just get into a more positive mindset and be happier. So, for example, a lot of us say, "Ugh, I have to go work out. I have to go to the gym."
Mm,
Why not say, I get to work out? I get
mm,
to go to the gym. I'm blessed. I'm able to do this. And right there, you feel empowered. Like, I get to do this. I'm lucky to be able to do this. So it's things like that. And thinking, oh, I have a big meeting tomorrow, or oh my gosh, I don't feel like getting up so early. No, I get to wake up early. I get to have a full day of opportunities and possibilities. And I know that sounds very cheesy to a lot of people, but you have to think of the conversations you're currently having. Like, I think a lot of us are very negative and we don't realize it. We're constantly complaining, constantly avoiding and dreading. And instead, we have to get excited and just change that conversation. And for me, that really does help.
I was, man, I'm just like at a loss for words because that literally is what I tell people all the time. That's literally what I be saying to myself every time I wake up. That's where this passion comes from. I love how you said, stop saying that you have to do something and start transitioning to saying, I get to do it. And that's something I've
Mm-hmm.
been saying, you know what I'm saying? So it's like to hear it from somebody else, man, that just really, that really hit deep with me. That really resonated with me because that's the problem a lot of people have. That's why people can never really, enjoy their life because they always look at everything as a chore. They're like, well, I have to
Mm-hmm.
go to work. If you don't like where you work, go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. And that's the other thing is, like, you're in control of your life. You've got to make the changes. If you don't like the job you're at, you're going to always hate it, or you're going to leave and get better. Like, do something about it. Um, something else that I really like too is that, when things happen in our life, like if you stub your toe, you drop something in the kitchen, that can ruin your day if you let it, right? You can sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I have the worst luck. This painful, or this is aggravating. I have to deal with it now. No, just sit back and breathe and remind yourself of everything else around you that is so good. If nobody is dying, nobody's hurt, right? Okay, you stubbed your toe, but it's going to recover in 5 minutes. 5 years from now, you're not going to care that you stubbed your toe. So
Right.
don't let it ruin your day. Breathe and acknowledge and practice gratitude through affirmations. That's another way to promote positivity and be happier.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's like stop letting those little things get to your head. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like for me, I've developed that type of mindset now because it took 2020 for me to just realize that, seeing like, people without food, without jobs, like people getting sick, every day I woke up, I'm like, I'm blessed, you know what I'm saying? So I just decided like I'm gonna go out and live that way. I'm not gonna let this little stuff that people try to throw at me get to me because I understand that this life is precious. So like, now I look at life in a whole different way, because of what I went through, because of what, pretty much everybody went through. And a lot of people
Yeah.
when they come out of 2020, they're like, man, I'm so glad that was over. Oh my God, it was terrible. People are always trying to move on to the next. But instead of just taking the time to realize, like, okay, look at where you at now. What can you gain from that experience? What can you gain from what you went through, in your hardship? And what have you learned? Because every time I go through a hardship, I look back and I'm like, man, I have a different perspective on that now. Back in 2020, I have a different perspective on life. Because I understand that, people think, oh, I got all this time, I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna wait for the right moment. There's no right moment, you know what I'm saying? Like 2020 has shown you that there's no right moment, because anything can happen at any time. So if you waiting
Mm-hmm.
to pursue a dream, you better just go out and do it right now while you still living. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I say the same thing. It's like if this year taught us anything, it's how precious life is. Like you just said, it could be taken from us at any moment. So if you want to go somewhere, try something new, you have to do it or you'll never do it. And also too, like I'm sure that you feel this way too, but when I first started these practices, they helped, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, yay, I'm the most happy and positive person ever. It's a practice. It takes time where every day when you're saying it to yourself, you improve, but it does take time. Like I'm still not even at the point, obviously, that I want to be at, but I just want people to know, it's not going to happen day one, but every day that you do it, you're just going to get a little better and better, and it's going to help improve you.
Mm-hmm. I think that was a key. That was the key. I think some people probably missed that. Is how you said you got to continue to keep doing it. Consistency is key. Consistency, like you
Mm-hmm.
can't expect to try something one time and be like, "Well, I'm supposed to feel it like right away." You know what I'm saying? Like you got to continue to keep practicing. It's just like with working out. Now I always use the example because I feel like since it's something I like to do, I always like to reference working out. Is when people work out for the first time, they expect to lose weight. And I'm just like, well, you can't lose the amount of weight that you want to lose if you just do it one time and don't do it again. That's the thing. Like when people say you can lose this amount of weight in like 90 or 120 days, they're telling you if you continue to keep doing it, you're gonna see some changes. So the fact is,
Mm-hmm.
okay, somebody give you something to try and it don't work right away, you can't be mad because of like you only did it at one time. It take multiple times to be able to actually develop it, actually make it to a habit. Because you got to make it to a habit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it actually they say it takes 21 days to make a habit,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes 90 days for that habit to become a lifestyle. So if you just think of that, like that's how much time is required for this just to become an everyday routine. Not even to feel the full effects of it, but that's just how long you have to let it sit with you before it becomes natural for you to just do it every day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's what I've been trying to do. Like, I actually like over the quarantine, I did this 21-day challenge where it was run through this motivational speaker called Eric Thomas. I don't know if you listen to Eric Thomas, but I would definitely recommend if you like motivation, if you like listening to motivational.
Yeah.
Eric Thomas is a really great motivational speaker. I think he's like one of the best in the world or something like that. But I was doing that over my time in quarantine, like because I was like I'm sick of um, just feeling sad and feeling like sorry for myself. So I decided to do this 21-day goal challenge where I write down different goals every day. I started just writing down new goals. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing. It's like sometimes, when you got goals, when you write stuff down and you accomplish it, you got to continue to keep writing new ones down because that's how you continue to grow. That's how,
Mm-hmm.
that's how people are able to continue to keep learning and continue to keep developing. You know what I'm saying? Is that they continue to, pursue new things. Because if you just, are just happy with what you just accomplished, you're not gonna, really see anything else happen for your life because you basically just stunted your growth right there because you just allowed yourself to just stop. You just stop because you just said I made it. Nah, you got to continue to keep climbing because if you stay there, somebody else gonna continue to keep climbing, and then they're gonna continue to keep passing you. So for me, like I just got in that habit of okay, maybe I achieved one goal this day, or what can I do the next day? And the next day, and the next day. You know what I'm saying? So I just definitely made that a habit. Speaking of 21 days, that was one of the challenges I did was write down new goals, be able to say them out loud. I think saying them out loud is powerful. Telling yourself, telling your mind, I can go out and achieve this. You know what I'm saying? Because the mind is powerful.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, if you just say your goals in your head, you forget about it. So if you write it down, you're seeing it every day and you know that you have to get it done. It's in front of your face. But then when you say it out loud, you're giving power to the universe to make it come true. So I love that. I think that is such a great idea.
Yeah, for sure. And one of my goals, one of the things I wanted to continue to do in 21 was, I told people, I said, I wanted to start reading more. So you know what I did? I
Me
got
too.
me some books. So I got me, this is the first book that I read. It's financially empowered. So I got this book for Christmas. So I got this right here. So it teaches you basically the basics of how to basically be responsible with your money. And then I got me a book today. I was really excited. I got this one. It's called Limitless. So this is my pastor. So this, my pastor
Oh,
wrote a book
cool.
and published it in 2021. He released it last Sunday. So I'm gonna, get into this book because that's actually the series we're talking about is living a limitless life. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what because honestly, there is no limit. There is no limit to what you can do. The only limits that exist, and I've said this time and time again, the only limits that exist are the ones in here, are the ones in your head. There's no, I mean, people try to be like, well, you got to be qualified, you got to be certified. No, you don't. You know what I'm saying? You can go out and do what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like we have been created to be able to live an extraordinary life. You know what I'm saying? You weren't just created to just live. You want to, go out and do something extraordinary. Or, what I meant to say was you weren't just created to exist. Let me put it that way. You weren't just created to exist. Right? Because a lot of people just exist. They never find who they
Mm-hmm.
really are because they always are defined by limits. They always let those limits get to their head. So I'm interested to be able to see what this book has to say. I know he's been talking about it in my church service of how to, get on that path to living a limitless life. But I'll probably find some more information. So I'm really excited to start this book. I'll probably start it, maybe later today. You know what I mean? Why not? So
Yeah. I actually just posted that quote on my Instagram page for my listeners was that the only limits we place on the only limits that are on life are the ones that we place on ourselves. And it's so true. And it's so funny that your goal is to read more because I have my bucket list hanging up right above me. And one of my items on my bucket list for this year is to read at least 6 books. That's my goal. So we are on the same path.
yeah, I mean, hey, God is good. I mean, I think this happened for a reason. For real. I think I know
Yeah.
because I just didn't think you know somebody would have this same drive as me. And I think what really got me was when you opened up and said, "Yeah, I got up at 5:30 in the morning." I'm like, "Hold up," I'm like, "No." So I rarely meet people like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just wow. Like I think it was just amazing how you open up with that. Um, just so excited to be able to keep up with you and what you continue to do. Um, as we come to a close, on the show, I know it's been a very, very fun experience. Like probably one of the funnest episodes I ever did. Especially for somebody who's on that same mission vision. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm just curious as to what you hope to still accomplish in 2021 that you haven't accomplished yet.
Well, I'm looking up at my vision board that I have here right now. My biggest goal that I have for 2021, that's on that list is to write a book. My goal in life is to write a book like just be able to write a book, but I put it to this year because I'm sick of saying like eventually I'd want to do things. I want to apply it to a time where this is the year I will complete it. So that's my biggest goal is writing a book. But also now, this podcast I'm doing is so new and I'm just hoping to reach more people like you're trying to do as well and just help have these open and honest conversations and help inspire and motivate people. So I want this year to be about connections, inspiration and just sending the positive message.
I think you might have copied my vision board. I really think you went into my room and stole it. I really think that because literally, like everything you saying is in line. Like literally, that was one of my things on my vision board was to also write a book because I've seen my pastor do it, and so when my pastor did it, I was like, "Yo, I could definitely do this." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo, like my pastor just literally like came out, in the beginning of 2021. He was like, I'm publishing a book." I was like, "Yo, that's dope, man." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like it can happen. You know what I'm saying? It can
Mm-hmm.
happen. So man, like that's incredible. I really, you know, I'm so grateful that we ran into each other today. I'm so grateful that you came on this podcast for real. I think I might I think the return of favor, since you came on my podcast, I'm probably gonna have to come on your podcast and we
Yes.
an episode together for real. And like I always tell my listeners, this is not, I'm hoping this is not gonna be the last time she come on, because I really think this is like a keynote speaker right here. I really think I can have her on multiple episodes and we can just be able to dive more into different topics, because I really, man, I'm just feeling good about, I'm just feeling good about this, man. I'm feeling good just, about the conversation that we just had. Because, man,
Me
it's just
too. Me too.
that you find people who's on that same vision. Like literally,
Hmm.
like me and her is identical. We are identical twins. I know it don't look like it from the skin color, but I'm telling you, like, she literally is me. She's literally me. So I mean, I'm just really looking forward to the type of work that we'll be getting into this year. And like I said, man, we gonna have her back on. And definitely go check out her podcast. It's called You Got This. It's called You Got This. It's the You Got This podcast, and it's on Apple Podcast, right? It's on the Apple Podcast, right?
Yep. Yep. Apple, Spotify. I think I posted it to like all major listings, so you can find it anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And go and also go follow on Instagram. What's your Instagram? You want to go ahead and shout that out?
Yes, it's you got this underscore the journey.
So basically the same name as her podcast. So You Got This is her underscore your journey, right? The journey. What was it called?
You got this underscore the journey.
Okay, we got you. We got you. Yeah, definitely go check her out on Instagram. She's definitely gonna be, having some updates on there. Just trying to help y'all stay positive and stay informed. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But hey, like I said, this your boy Chris Simmons coming to a close on this show. Just a reminder that this every episode will be posted Mondays at 12 a.m. on our Spotify and our YouTube. So if you want to get some updates, follow us on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life. And that's no spaces and no capital. Once again, that's at Disinfecting Your Life and no spaces, no capital. But hey, man, like I said, this your boy. You come to a close on the show. We out. Peace.